Hello everyone, Miss Melander here, and today we're going to look at the divisions of the nervous system. Ultimately, I'm having you look into neurotransmitters, but in order to do that, you need to understand a little bit about how the nervous system is organized. So the nervous system. We have the central nervous system, which consists of the brain and the spinal cord. We talked about both of these briefly when we were doing that activity on reflexes and reactions, and how reflexes just use the spinal cord for decision-making interpretation, whereas reactions, the impulse has to go up to the brain to be processed. But there's also the peripheral nervous system. So I'm not going to try to build this all on one slide. You, however, could build it all as one flowchart in your notebooks. So however you can organize that. So the peripheral nervous system consists of the sensory division, which includes all the receptors such as your eyes and your ears and your nose and your mouth and all those things, plus the receptors of, pressure and pain and temperature in your skin, and that kind of thing. So the sensory division is divided into the somatic. If you remember from when we looked at the structure of the neuron, the word soma, which meant cell body, so soma means body. So it's talking about sort of the body proper, I guess. Skin, muscles, joints, so temperature, pressure, stretch, pain, all of those things that you sort of feel with your body proper are part of the somatic system of the sensory division. There's also the visceral portion of the sensory division, and visceral refers to your innards, your internal organs. So this is things like sensations you'd get from your stomach or intestines or those kinds of things. So the stretch receptors in your stomach to tell you you're full, or that kind of thing. So in the peripheral nervous system, the sensory division has somatic sensory neurons, which are for the skin, muscles, and joints, and there's also the visceral for your internal stuff. However, there's also a motor division, right? So the sensory division takes impulses and brings them in towards the central nervous system. In the motor division, impulses are carried away from the central nervous system. So let's take a look at that. All right. So the motor division, we have again a somatic portion, which is the voluntary portion. So things that you do consciously. You're walking, you're running, you're talking, you're picking something up, you're chewing, all of those voluntary things that you decide to do. There's also the involuntary part, which is called the autonomic nervous system. Auto meaning automatic kind of thing. So that's how I remember that, is the autonomic nervous system is sort of automatic. It's involuntary. You don't think about it, such as your heart beating. That does that even when you're sleeping or whatever. You don't have to think about that. So the autonomic is divided into two additional systems called the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight. So that the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for helping increase your heart rate and increasing your respiration rate and slowing down your intestines and increasing the blood supply to your muscles so that you're ready to fight or flee. There's also the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest system. And what the, don't you love that picture? Anyway, the rest and digest, what that really does, the parasympathetic comes into play after the sympathetic. So The sympathetic starts up, your heartbeat goes up, your respiration goes up, all those things that I talked about a minute ago. But then at some point, they need to slow back down again. And that's what the parasympathetic system does. It helps your heart rate return to normal. It helps your respiration rate return to normal. It allows blood to get back into the function of digestion and sort of normal everyday activities. It um, constricts blood vessels so you don't have quite as much blood going into your muscles. So the way that I remember this um, is the parasympathetic. It's like a parachute, and it slows everything down again. Okay, so they work together, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Sympathetic speeds everything up, parasympathetic brings everything back to normal. Any questions? If you do, write them down, and we can talk about it when I get back. All right, thanks.